Kish 3 in Anam Jackdo Callan. 30 seconds.
Minister, every member of this House is aware that being a member of An Garda Síochána is a very demanding and specialist job. One day of the week, Gardaí can be asked to investigate issues pertaining to financial crime, and on other occasions they can be asked to investigate issues concerning child abuse or sexual abuse. I want to ask you about that latter group. It was announced recently that there would be specialist groups within An Garda Síochána rolled out to deal with vulnerable witnesses. What's the status in respect to that rollout, Minister, and when's it going to be up and running?
I want to acknowledge the importance of appropriate expertise across An Garda Síochána as they undertake on a daily basis very important work. But in the case, as referred to by Deputy O'Callaghan, this issue, the work of a very sensitive and personal nature. So the setting up by the Garda Commissioner of Divisional Protective Services units are one of the actions outlined in the second National Strategy on Domestic, Sexual and Gender-Based Violence. The strategy, in accordance with the Programme for Government Commitments, is a whole-of-government approach involving 7 government departments and a number of state bodies, including TUSLA and An Garda Síochána. A key element of this strategy is the enactment recently of the Domestic Violence Act. Under the existing Garda Reform Programme, divisional units of Garda National Protective Service Bureau are being rolled out across the country in 2 phases. The Bureau and its divisional units are tasked with improving services to victims, improving the investigation of sexual and domestic violence incidents, identifying risk and managing that risk. Phase 1 of the rollout has been completed, with divisional units established and working in 3 areas, DMR West, in Cork City and in Louth. I wish to strongly welcome the important statement of Commissioner Harris just this week at the launch of the Dublin Rape Crisis Centre annual report, his commitment to the continued rollout of Divisional Protective Services Unit. I am confident that under the leadership and under the stewardship of Commissioner Drew Harris, there will be rapid progress in the delivery of these important units. Following the evaluation of the pilot, the next phase will see an additional 6 divisional bureaus established in DMR South Central, in Waterford, in Kerry, Carlow Kilkenny, Limerick and Galway. These will be before the end of this year, with the objective of extending them to all the remaining Garda divisions before the end of next year.
Thank you very much, Minister. Deputy.
Minister, I had the pleasure of being at the launch of the Rape Crisis Centre's annual report, and I did have an opportunity to listen to Commissioner Drew Harris. I welcomed what he said, and he did give a commitment that there would be a rollout of what were the Divisional Protective Services units in all of the 29 Garda divisions. I think it's important to note that taking evidence or taking a statement from a victim of child abuse or from a complainant of a rape case or in sexual abuse cases is a very complicated matter, and it requires expertise and it requires sensitivity and it requires training. And that's why I very much welcome the establishment of these units, Cahirlock. But unfortunately, Minister, there have been reports in recent weeks that Gardaí are being told that they cannot take part in specialist courses due to budgetary constraints. And obviously that would be a severe concern to members within An Garda Síochána, but also to the victims of these crimes and complainants who wish to come before the court. So can you give us an assurance that there will be funding provided and that the funding will be ring-fenced for these vital units?
Thank you very much, Deputy.
Well, I want to acknowledge, of course, the importance of the specialist training to which the Deputy refers. I'm informed by the Garda Commissioner that all Garda personnel receive training in the investigation of incidents considered to be domestic abuse in all of its forms, with additional training provided to Gardaí who have been selected for duties as detectives. I want again to state that there is further and more specific training developed by the Director of Training with senior management team at the Garda National Protective Services Bureau, for training to be provided to personnel selected for duty within the Division of Protective Services units where the rollout has already taken place. This has already commenced within the 3 divisions that I mentioned in Louth, in Cork City, in DMR West. I'm really keen to ensure that the commitment to have all of the Garda divisions involved in the process by the end of next year. And I want to acknowledge the importance of the recommendations in the recently published report on the Commission of Future Policing, placing again an emphasis on the need to support victims of crime and the need for the Gardaí to have an appropriate level of training.
Thank you very much for your cooperation. Mr Deputy, final comment.
I have to just look at the report that was published recently by the Commission on the Future of Policing. We can look at the policing inspectors report, or the Garda inspectors and the policing authority reports, which have criticised the low levels of specialist child interviewers within An Garda Síochána. So, it is a difficulty and a problem that exists within the force. We keep making laws in this House, and indeed in Dáil Éireann. It makes the law more complicated. The Gardaí are the people who have to investigate any breaches of the law. We need to ensure that they are adequately trained to deal with legitimate complainants who come forward using those laws. And that's why I think it is so important, Minister, that we have to ensure that the funding is ring-fenced for these units. As I say, I welcome the fact that we're going to have them rolled out over the 29 Garda divisions. But I'm also conscious of what has been said by members of the Garda Representative Association, who have stated that they really need to ensure that there's proper professional national training plan to deal with frontline members of An Garda Síochána. It's not appropriate just to put a young guard who's not adequately trained in before complainants in these cases.
I think the Deputy makes a reasonable point, and I want in this regard to acknowledge an increase of 8% in respect of the Garda Síochána vote in the recent budget. 1.7 billion euro available to the Garda Commissioner to engage in the type of activity that he believes is important in order to ensure that the issues as raised are dealt with. I'm informed that all Garda personnel receive training in the matter of domestic abuse. I want to acknowledge the importance of the pilot areas. Induction training has been provided for personnel in these units, a briefing being provided to all appropriate state agencies beyond the Garda Síochána. But the training, as referred to by the Deputy, includes specific training in the investigation of sexual crime, online child exploitation, domestic abuse, human trafficking, children in care who are reported missing, and sex offender management. And I look forward to ensuring that all divisions of An Garda Síochána have the appropriate units within the time frame as envisaged, which is 12 months from now.